You won't believe what happens next. Juanma remembers at home the woman is Lisa, the doctor who died 5 years ago. Not a coincidence. The ghost forged the suicide scene in the morning. Juanma covered up Lisa's death for money, thinking telling the ghost would save him, but the result was unexpected. So Juanma gathers his courage and returns to the clinic once more, but due to his carelessness, he unfortunately finds himself under the lawnmower. Soon everyone knew beauty and destruction turned nauseating. Dr. Dazhuang wanted to keep it quiet, but crowds gathered. He hurriedly left the scene, and his peculiar actions caught Qiuehui's attention. Upon returning to the clinic, she decided to use the computer to investigate the secrets of. She discovered that the deceased Lisa seemed to have an unusual connection to her. But just as Qiuehui was bewildered, she saw Dazhuang standing outside the window, staring at her with cold and sinister eyes, making Qiuehui uneasy and jump up to leave her seat. Meanwhile, Oi had been feeling distant since the fallout with Dai Mai. Dejected on his way back to the dorm, he bumped into a woman standing by the road. He was utterly unaware that she was not actually a living being, and upon seeing his girlfriend Dai Mai ignoring him, wild and absurd thoughts immediately crossed his mind. Speaking of which, the woman then pointed in a specific direction for him. So they hopped on a motorcycle, heading towards the woman's home, completely unaware that Oi was on a one-way trip into trouble, led by the ghost. Oi rode straight off a cliff, and although he was rushed to the hospital and survived, he was destined to spend the rest of his life in bed while his family was heartbroken. After hearing the news, Dai Mai and Qiuehui rushed to the hospital. But Oi's mum hugged Qiuehui tightly, and seeing that, Dai Mai was about to explode. Dai Mai felt uneasy and realized her friend Qiuehui was Oi's ex-girlfriend. Upon learning this, she immediately broke down and ran away. Qiuehui fell into guilt because of this. Back at her rental, she packed her things with a heavy heart. She mistakenly believed that Qiuehui and her boyfriend had an unusual relationship. Since you two have developed feelings for each other, Ildemus let him go. After uttering these words, she left in a huff. Can't I even put on my clothes while drinking water? If you wear clothes, then I should too. Qiuehui was left stunned, and soon Dai Mai fainted and was taken to the clinic. Her mother rushed over upon learning the news. The series of strange events left Qiuehui questioning the clinic and to uncover the truth. She decided to start with Dazhuang. Taking advantage of his absence, she secretly searched his bag and found old newspaper articles about the clinic's murder case. In an album, she found numerous strands of hair, and each page had a name, including Dai Mai and the dead Lisa, which left Qiuehui utterly shocked. She thought the real culprit was likely Dazhuang. Just as she was about to leave, she bumped into Dazhuang returning, but luckily a little boy blocked her way. Qiuehui, hidden behind the door, wasn't found. Dazhuang noticed the album missing. While he was on a call, Qiuehui escaped. Just as she got outside, she ran into the clinic's head, Huzi. In a panic, she told him everything she had discovered. To avoid being discovered by Dazhuang, they went to a shed on the outskirts. Huzi took the album, reminisced about the past, and told Qiuehui that he always suspected Lisa's death 5 years ago wasn't an accident, but a murder. Yet, due to the clinic's reputation, they couldn't move forward. Now, Dazhuang seems the album indicates that Dai Mai might be the next victim, so to protect her, they decided to inform her of what had happened. These dorms were once Jinjiu and Huanmao's. At night, strange things happened again. Dai Mai dreamed of the abandoned factory Jinjiu and Lisa often visited. A strange woman was crouching on the ground, frantically digging and looking around. Dai Mai saw no one else. But when she turned around again, she found a deep pit dug into the ground. Gaining some courage, Dai Mai stepped closer to check it out, and the woman stopped digging. But just then, the woman suddenly yelled, "Get out of here." The scene shifted, and Qiuehui, who was on night watch, was lying on the ground asleep. When she woke up, she found that Dai Mai was missing from her bed. Unable to do anything, she quickly got dressed to search, just as strange noises came from the abandoned spa room. Without thinking twice, she hurriedly moved the ladder and climbed through the hole in the ceiling. Soon, she found Dai Mai in the bathtub, muttering some weird things. "How could this happen to you? How could this happen?" Multiple voices echoed at once. Seeing Dai Mai's head submerged in the bathtub, Kyu-hee was terrified. She worried her friend would drown, but was also scared of how Daimai looked well possessed. After brief hesitation, she mustered courage and approached. Daimai's mouth was above water. Just as Kyu-hee tried to wake her, Daimai suddenly opened her eyes. She forcibly yanked Kyu-hee into the water. Just at the moment when Kyu-hee was about to suffocate. Kyu-hee finally saw the truth. It turned out that Lisa didn't take her own life voluntarily 5 years ago. Her brother was none other than the clinic's head, who's a guy who drugged Lisa and put her in a chair. He assaulted her without her knowledge, threatening her to stay silent, never thinking Lisa would report him. Upon finding out, Husegai, furious, grabbed Lisa by the hair and dragged her into the spa room to release his twisted desires. After brutally killing her, he paid 2 nurses a hush money to cover up the scene as if Lisa had committed suicide. Just at that moment, Daimai was knocked out, and Kyu-hee woke from her hallucination. It turned out Husegai had arrived just in time, saving her life. But now, Kyu-hee, realizing the truth, was terrified at seeing the real culprit. As she helped Daimai up and hurriedly tried to escape the clinic. However, Husegai seemed to sense something was off, and Daimai revealed the secret she had been assaulted by Husegai too, but under his threats. She couldn't speak up. Now, they desperately needed to leave, however, as Kyu-hee turned to look for Husegai. She was caught. Husegai stood in front of her menacingly, admitting to his actions and threatening her not to tell anyone, or else he would kill Daimai first and then send her to join them, once and for all.